everyone, my name is Feranmi Adeola. I will be reading to you Halima's Vote, a modern parable about the impact of vote buying in Nigeria by our Executive Director, Onyinye Ough. I hope that you enjoy the reading of this book along with me and that you follow me through the major themes in the story. I hope you enjoy reading this book and I hope you listen attentively and closely because I have some questions to ask you at the end of the video. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Halima was a hardworking woman. She tried not to upset people in her village. She was married to a loud, confident man named Ahmed. They had 5 children, which kept Halima very busy. Her children did not go to school because there was no school in the village. Halima's village had no clean water or power. Her family had to use candles to see at night. Every morning, Halima woke up early to go to the farm, and in the evening she brought back food for her family. She also kept some food to sell in the village market. Halima's husband Ahmed had 2 best friends. They were called Shehu and Ough. Shehu and Ough paid Ahmed a visit. They would laugh and talk about different things, and Halima would serve them food and local palm wine. She would sit at the corner of the floor and listen to them quietly as they chatted. She would not join them in their discussions. One evening, Shehu and Ough came to visit Ahmed. They were talking about the elections. Shehu said, "The elections will soon be here. What are we going to ask our governor to do for us?" Ahmed replied, "Let's ask him to give each person in the village 2,000 naira. In the last election, he gave the villagers 1,000 naira. Halima listened quietly to their chat and she did not say a word. Chapter 2. Every election year, Ahmed, Shehu and Ough would go to each house in the village. They would ask the villagers to vote for the person they supported. They told the villagers that those who voted for the governor would be paid some money to vote. Ahmed and his friends were respected in the village, and sometimes they were feared. They were called the 3 wise men by the villagers. The villagers always listened to Ahmed and his friends for that reason. Now, the state governor only visited the village during election year. He would come to the village to ask the people to support him. He would say, "If you vote for me, I would build a school and a clinic for you in this village." This is called a campaign. The governor would go to each person in the village and say, "I will give you money if you choose me as your leader." This is called vote buying. The villagers were always happy to collect the money and other lovely gifts. The women would dance around, and the youth and the young children also danced and sang songs of praises. They joined their parents in praising the governor, saying, "May you live long and rule us forever. We love you, Mr. Governor." I hope you're still following the story. Let's see what happens next. Now, every election day, the 3 wise men would wake up early in the morning to force the villagers to vote. Sometimes they were naughty to the villagers. They would knock at the doors and they would shout loudly, "Go and vote for the governor now! Go and vote for the governor now! I will break your doors down! Go out and vote for the governor!" Some villagers were too scared, and they had to go out and vote for the governor. Ahmed and his friends were paid 10,000 naira each for getting people to go out and vote for the governor. This is called voter intimidation. Sadly, after the election, the governor stopped visiting the village. He never kept any of his promises. No schools or clinics were built. No power was supplied, and there was no clean water. They were all left alone. Halima was worried and asked her husband, Ahmed, where is our governor? We have not seen him since the election. I hope he's not angry with us. But Ahmed told Halima to shh, because politics is not for women. So a few months to the next election, something bad happened in the village. Many villagers fell very ill. There was a cholera outbreak. Halima and her family were lucky. They did not fall ill. But her neighbors were not so lucky. They fell very sick. Halima helped look after her sick neighbors in the village because there was no clinic or doctor to help out. Halima had to travel for 3 hours to take 2 of her sick neighbors to see a doctor in the neighboring village. Sadly, when they finally reached the clinic, one of them died. And Halima did not have enough money to buy medicine for all the sick people in her village. The doctor said, "Your friends are ill because they drank the dirty water in your village. You will need to stop drinking that water." Halima said, "We have no other source of water. The stream is the only way we get it. What do we do now?" Halima was sad and disturbed. She started getting very angry. The governor had promised the village clean water for many years, yet he had not kept to his promises. So she said to herself, "This cannot continue. I have been voting for the governor, yet we still do not have clean water in the village. We cannot even see at night because we have no power. We do not have a clinic to go to when we are ill. Now my neighbors and friends are ill." She kept all these to herself and she did not tell her husband Ahmed. Halima silently blamed Ahmed and his friends for making the village vote for the governor. She felt very bad that some villagers had died because of dirty water. Halima decided that things needed to change. She decided to demand for better services in the village. Chapter 4. As election day was drawing near, the governor visited the village to beg for their votes and to give 2,000 naira to each of the villagers. All the villagers came to the village square to listen to the governor. As usual, he made nice promises to the villagers. The governor gave out 2,000 naira to all the villagers in the square. When he got to Halima's turn, she shook her head and said, "Not this time, Your Excellency. I do not want your money." The governor and the villagers were surprised because Halima was quiet and she never spoke in public. Her husband Ahmed was shocked. Halima said to the people, "Why should we vote for the governor? He has not done anything for us in this village. We have no clinic, we have no clean water and no schools. He has not given us any of the things he promised." And so the governor said, "I will surely do that once you vote for me." Halima shook her head and said, "Never again will that happen. Never again in this village. My vote is my power. It is not for sale. I have seen my friends die because they drank bad water from the stream and could not get to the clinic on time." So Halima said, "No services, no vote." Ahmed tried to stop Halima from talking, but she shouted loudly, "No services, no vote." So the villagers listened to Halima's speech. They started to see that the point Halima was making was right, that the governor only visited them during the election period. He gave them nice gifts and money to get their votes, but he never asked them what they really wanted. He never kept to his promises of building a school or clinic or borehole for clean water. He never did any project in the village. So they started to understand that services were more important than gifts and money for votes. So the villagers followed Halima's action and they all started to return the money to the governor. So the governor shouted angrily at them saying, "How can you return my money? Why are you listening to this woman?" Ahmed, Shehu and Ugo were helpless. they also began to understand Halima's point. So Halima started singing a song. We know all your rice, we know all your money. Waiting we want now, water we clean. Waiting we want now, clinic and school. We know all your rice, we know all your money. Waiting we want now, water we clean. Waiting we want now, clinic and school. And so the villagers joined Halima in the song. Even Ahmed, Shehu and Ugo joined the villagers and Halima in singing. So the governor was shocked at the reaction of the villagers, and he began to understand that things were different now. And so he walked away in shame. Chapter 5. From that day onwards, elections in the village changed. Halima became a champion against vote buying. She led the village in talks with anybody that wanted the village to choose them as leaders. She became the village spokesperson instead of the three wise men. Halima made sure that the politicians asked the people about their needs in the village and kept their promises. Halima said to the village, "We have been foolish for many years and have allowed politicians to use us. We are wiser now. Our votes are our power. They are not for sale. We want good services." The end. We hope you enjoyed listening to this session of Storytime with Auntie Feranmi, and we hope that you've picked up the major lessons from the story. Halima, although a quiet woman, seeing the trials that her community went through because of lack of good basic services, because the governor of their state would only come around during elections to bribe them to vote for him, but after elections he would never fulfill his promises or come back to check on how they were doing. So she said, never again. No services, no vote. Our votes are our power. They are not for sale. We want good services. We hope you learned the lessons that Halima hopes to teach you today, to always speak out for truth and stand up for your rights, and to never sell your vote. Thank you so much for joining us. Until the next time with Storytime with Auntie Feranmi. Thank you so much for watching.